Last Light Infinity, the expansion. More players, more factions, more fighting. Still just one last light. Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games. And today we're going to be unboxing the expansion for Last Light Infinity. Now, Last Light is the name of the actual game and Infinity is the expansion itself. It's from Grey Fox Games and is by Roy Canaday, who I believe is a reviewer for the Dice Tower. And it's nice to see a reviewer putting out one of their own games. This was given to us with a great deal by a man called Gildeus, who is the owner and proprietor of a shop called Happy Go Lucky. It's a store that specializes in toys, Lego, and board games. Now, the board game selection is what I would be most impressed by. The reason being is that Gildeus is an avid board game fan himself, and because he's such a fan, he knows exactly the best games to get and what's hot and what is not. I would very humbly suggest that you do check out in the description box below, or if James is so kind to put a link somewhere around here about Happy Go Lucky. But it is a wonderful little store, a lovely mom and pop family business, and one I definitely urge you to look at and check out. But it is thanks to Gildeus that we have this and the other Last Light box games to review and research. So this is the expansion for the game. Now, the interesting thing about it is it's a 4X game. Do check out the previous unboxing video, and if by the time, if you're watching this well in the future, the review. But essentially, all the light in the universe is going out. There's only one white dwarf star left, and all the factions and all the races are coming in to try and control the very last one before light just ends in the universe forever. Quite grim, but a great setting for a 4X game. The original game was quite quick. It only took an hour roughly to play, despite it being a 4X game. However, the expansion brings it from 4 players up to 8 players. Now, what I have noticed here as well is that the 60 minutes plus is grayed out. So naturally, if you've twice the amount of players, you probably have at least twice the amount of time to play. So it probably goes from a 1-hour game to a 2-hour, possibly 3-hour game, because, you know, there's a lot of other factors at play. It brings in 4 more races, 4 new player boards, colony ships, a whole lot of other little bits and pieces, and some unique planets. So with no further ado, let's unbox this and see what we have inside. So the other thing I like about this is this box contrasts greatly with the core box. The core box is all black, this one is all white, so the two of them stand out and look, quite frankly, gorgeous. Regardless, unboxing it now for the first time, we are greeted with the instruction book. Now, the last instruction book was only about 15 pages long. This one is only 7 pages long, and the majority of it is showing the map on different player setups. So I'm guessing that the game hasn't changed that drastically. No doubt the factions have shaken it up a little bit, but you have, again, a little synopsis here for the different resources, new planetary cards, planetary tokens, 2 unique planets, and a lot of extra ships and colony ship tokens. So these are, fairly straightforward. So it looks like it's an expansion you can rock straight into. We have the cardboard tokens here. We'll put that to one side. We have a little bit of filler to keep the box in good shape. Oh, God bless Grey Fox. We have tons more little baggies, so it's always great to see those. And we have a lot of planets. Now, in the core box, there was a lot of empty spaces for expansions, so this, no doubt, is where a lot of those planets will fit. We have a ton more of the heavy bases, so these are quite nice in the sense that they're actually heavier than the 40k bases that you would be used to. There's a little bit more weight to it, so there's nice quality. Probably because it's holding a big planet on top, it needs a bit of weight to stop it from toppling over. But nevertheless, it means that if the table gets knocked, that there's a slightly better chance for it to survive. We have here the graveyard cards, and we have here more light cards, of course. We have here the actual factions. We have more planetary cards, planetary achievement cards. We have the tokens. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at the graveyard cards and see what it has. There was distinct In the core set, there was separate graveyard cards for 2 and 3 plus players. We'll see now if that has changed a little bit with the game going up to 8 players. So nope, it all seems to be still 3+ and 2+ players. So there's not a huge amount of change with the expansion. So if you're someone who's worried about learning a whole new extra rule set for the game, it doesn't seem to be the case. The game stays itself quite largely the same. And of course we have the different cards here again for the different players. With research, mine, construct, trade, refresh, and command. So you have still got the player actions here. You have the planets, which seem to be range from small planets to big planets, and again, nice and big. Yeah, you can nearly play marbles with these things. And this one, I was going to say looks kind of like the United States, but when it doesn't actually. It'd be interesting to see if the patterns in these planets were consistent from game to game, or was it just like tie-dyeing in the sense that a lot of them would have a random jumble of colors placed on them. Here we have the planetary achievement cards. So again, it seems to be more of the same keep hidden cards. So these would be the same as the core set. And what would really be new, and I think what you were actually getting the expansion box for, is the races. So let's have a quick look to see what new races we have to play with. So we have here the Morlock, which for each blank roll on an enemy ship in a sector containing one or more of your ships, you assign 1 damage to ships of that type belonging to that player. So a bit more of a combat race. You have the EV-Lons. Your ships may each hold 1 extra ship mod for a technology card. You have the Meglinth, so you gain light anytime you destroy an enemy extractor. So definitely fellas who are up for combat. You have a Recog initiative. Exhaust this card to unexhaust one of your technology cards. Now that's interesting. That smacks of Universities of John Dar with Twilight Imperium. So these guys will be, if you leave them alone for too long, they'll get very advanced. And it says 3+, so a lot of these races seem to be 3+ cards. So the first 3, I think you can kind of fold straight into your game. So if you're playing with less than 3 players, you can put these guys straight in. However, if you want to play with larger players, these guys all factor into that, with the exception of the Neluma, which if you control 2 green planets, you may exhaust this card to gain light. The Recog initiative for larger player games. You have the Esquire. Sounds like the fanboys. Exhaust this card to draw 2 tech cards. Give 1 to an opponent of your choice. Keep the other. So that's interesting. You can make friends with these guys. The Serenians. When the board rotates, you may choose to give up to 2 other players light. The Nebulan. When you command, you may spend Ray resource. If you do, skip a single ship's movement and place it in any sector of its current ring. The Aruna. When you command, you always move last regardless of turn order. Now that's interesting. It allows you to let others do their moves and react accordingly. That's an interesting one. And the Lasheron, exhaust this card and spend gold resource to destroy an enemy ship in a space with a ship or extractor you control. So again, kind of a nice fiery race. And Children of the Last Blue Hypergiant Star. They sprang into being as the star went supernova, the only life remaining in their system. That's interesting. So possibly the next form of life in this dark, horrible, scary grey universe. But nevertheless, this is the expansion. We'll have a quick look here at the cardboard cuttings, but I imagine it will be largely the same as the core game, with just the ships and resources remaining the same, because the expansion seems to kind of focus mainly on just extra players. I presume these are just to accommodate the board being able to go up to 8 players. So we have 2 double sides of these that would fit on the table. We have here a ton more of the actual research tokens. We have, again, 2 more sets of colony ships and player boards. We have here ship tokens, again, so you got small ships, large ships, damage tokens, more research tokens, and 4 more player aids. So the Last Light Infinity is an interesting expansion because like the game, it's streamlined and straightforward. So what you do mainly get is the ability to play up to 8 players and a ton more factions to play around with. So as always, if you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, this is Sean from The Lucky Roll, signing off.